And as I said a few moments ago, it is a time where, like, even recently, I've kind of like been in a place, because I'm a person that's always on the go, but I've been in a place where I've not been gone so much. To the point that I asked the Lord, because there's some things places I desired to go. However, the Holy Spirit didn't allow me to go. So there are seasons where the Lord will have you isolate, where you will be in that season of isolation, where He's, speaking, and He's pouring, and He's doing some things in you as an individual.
Right.
And at that point, that is not lonely.
Yeah.
That's a time of ministering. As some people would say, you're on the backside of the mountain during that time. But when you come
That's
out,
a whole turn. Woo, girl.
yeah, on the backside of the mountain. But when He allows you to come on the opposite side of it, you are all the better for it.
Of Kingdom Women Talk, where we encourage, validate, and empower others to do life. We're going to be talking about being alone. Is it lonely? Is being alone lonely?
Yes.
Being alone is considered lonely.
Yes.
Do tell, because I was thinking that being alone and being lonely was two separate things. Like, you can be alone and not be lonely. Because you can content, right?
Yeah, you can be content in a place of being alone, especially if you're an individual who loves their space.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really into the self-care mode this season, and I guess we really should be on that type of self-care for ourselves. Like, I don't do it enough.
Right, neither do I. I'm thinking.
So I don't take the alone time. I don't have the alone time that a lot of people do have. But I when I do get it, I do cherish it.
Yeah, that's me too. I don't do it enough either.
Yeah.
So, but back to you. You said, tell me why. Tell us. Talk to us.
Because, like she just said, it's like she doesn't do enough of it versus I do too much of it. Like, I'm alone too much, and it becomes lonely, especially since I've moved. And even when I was home, the Lord gave me the revelation that you can be alone and it becomes isolating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So is this isolating in terms of withdrawing yourself from doing things and withdrawing yourself from people? That
It's
type of isolation?
withdrawing yourself from doing things. Like when I was at, the kids, even though the children were there, I might have been in my room.
Oh, okay, so
Or they get up on Saturdays and go out, make our, errand run. If they didn't say, come on, Ma, to get you out of the house, I didn't go. And so, was I doing it intentionally? No. I think, again, it's an area that the Lord is uprooting for me to recognize, because that was my pattern as being the adult, even though I was a child, being the adult in the home, taking care of brothers and sisters, that I was alone in that realm. So while they're out playing and getting friends, and I'm in the house making sure things are
Done.
done. You know, laundry, cooking. It's time for the girls to get their hair done, especially when it came to holidays, washing hair, pressing hair. You know, I mean, God is so funny because he even brought back to my remembrance that, you know, our old TVs that used to have plugs, you know, our TV would go out, Sheila, the TV's out. And I'd just get back there, take it off, take a plug off, blow on it, blow in the dirt, put it back in, finagle this, finagle that, and the TV would work. What 10, 9, 11-year-old knows to do that? But it was lonely because I didn't have any other 10 or 9-year-olds. So as I grew up and had kids, okay, yes, now I have kids, but it's still lonely because I'm raising my kids as a single parent.
So lonely in the sense that I guess for you, ideally, it would have been a companion doing those things. And so is that companion like sister girlfriends, or is that companion
All of it.
like
Companion of friends, companion of a male companion. But it became so habit. You know, it was a habit that even in my marriage, I felt alone and lonely. Because, you know, he was a social butterfly. Like I said, who goes to a funeral at 10 in the morning and you don't see him till 10, 11 o'clock at night?
So then it's that part of, because sometimes our makeup is just that we're okay with being alone. Like we're okay with just curled up on the couch.
Some days
We're
I was.
okay with just, you know, binge watching. We're okay with not having to be out and about. We're okay with just being in the home. Some people are like that, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're lonely, but it does, I guess it counteracts the stigma of when you are isolated by yourself, then you're lonely. So,
I think it's a little bit of both, because there are times where I would, like in my marriage, you know, get up, I'd go thrifting. You know, I had a routine. I go thrifting, I go to the library, I get about 7 or 8 books, I go to the grocery store, you know, do all those things, come home, and was fine reading a book or, you know, watching TV. But then there are times where I felt like I was alone and felt lonely. It's sort of hard to explain unless you've been in it, you know. And so I think, again, for me, I realized that I have to be mindful that just because I am alone, that I'm not. Just because I'm feeling lonely, I'm not alone.
yeah.
And that's been the hard part.
Yeah, I guess for me, it makes me think about, Sheila, as I'm thinking about what you said, then what makes us not feel lonely? Like what would make us not feel lonely? What fills that void? Because companionship doesn't, you can be married and be alone, right? You can have a plethora of friends and still be alone. So is being alone, is it really lonely?
Not necessarily. It just depends, I think, on the space of the individual and the space that they're in. And as I said a few moments ago, it is a time where, like, even recently, I've kind of like been in a place, because I'm a person that's always on the go, but I've been in a place where I've not been gone so much. To the point that I asked the Lord, because there's some things places I desired to go. However, the Holy Spirit didn't allow me to go. So there are seasons where the Lord will have you isolate you know, where you will be
Yeah, I
in that
agree.
season of isolation, where he's, you know, speaking and he's pouring and he's doing some things in you as an individual.
Right.
And at that point, that is not lonely.
Yeah.
You know, that's a time of ministering. As some people would say, you're on the backside of the mountain during that time. But when you come
That's
out,
an old term. Woo, girl.
yeah, on
Woo.
the backside of the mountain. But when he allows you to come on the opposite side of it, you are all the better for it.
Some people do think that that is lonely. I've heard people say, I know God is doing a thing by isolating me, but because it's not their normal routine, they feel lonely. Because it's shutting that social butterfly down, right? Then they feel lonely, you know, because it's different than what they've been
Right.
or how they have set up their life. You know, then it becomes lonely for them. When really, is it really lonely, or do we just need to shift?
I think we can also confuse being lonely with being uncomfortable with where we are.
Yes, it's like
Like
shift,
if you're
right?
saying, you know, like maybe God is
Yeah.
doing a work in us, and it's uncomfortable because it's
Right.
not something we're used to.
Right.
Like you said, I'm used to being on the go, and now the Lord is saying, "No, I want you to sit still."
Yeah,
And that's a hard thing to do
Yeah.
when you've been used to being on the go.
yeah,
You know, versus someone who hasn't been used to being on the go. Now you want me to get out here and do what?
and go.
And go?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. And so it's a mindset.
Yeah. Do y'all think that, because I've been on both sides of the fence, you know, I like to go too. So, and I'm always going, but I think over the last couple of years, the Lord has really been kind of slowing things down for me. And I appreciate on one end because the go can get tiresome. But at the same time, it kind of leaves you feeling like you said, it's that mindset where you are accustomed to going. So when you're not going, it just feels uncomfortable. It's a weird space.
Yeah.
Right. It's like,
It is.
it's not your norm. So it's really, really weird. So it made me think when you were talking, Angie, so it's the thought of being lonely, when it's compared to isolation, do you think it's self-sabotaging? Because it is a mindset.
It can be.
Like
Yeah, it could be.
it's a way of saying, I don't want to go into that, whatever that new. I don't want to go into that, right? So then I isolate myself. Or it could be a way God is pushing you into breaking, like you said, breaking from being an introvert to saying, you know what, I'm just going to try to test you test the waters in that area. And then what do we do? No, I'm going to get me a book and curl up, you know, or he's like,
Yeah.
well, I want you to go and, you know, go to this event. And you're like, not by myself, Lord.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah. And I mean, even with that being said, you know, and even in the season that I'm in, I did have to do a pulse check and it's like, Lord, am I doing this or is it you? You know, because I wanted to make sure that I'm not pulling myself or withdrawing my own self.
Yeah.
Is this really you doing it? And of course it was confirmation. I was happy to hear that. Thank
Yeah.
you, Lord. But you know, when you're in that place, it is good to do a check because we can pull ourselves. And I will say, ever since we've had the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, it has turned us somewhat into becoming comfortable in our own environment and not looking to go externally to feel fulfilled because you can have everything that you need at home.
Right there. You can
know?
work from home.
Yeah.
You can play at home.
Yeah.
You can eat at home.
Absolutely.
It's everything right there.
Absolutely. So it sometimes, and I get it, it takes the extra effort to go outside. You know, it really does. It takes extra effort. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm home. Go where? 2 days a week? No, I want to be home.
Right.
No, but and with that even being, you know, saying that. That's been good, you know, to go into the office and be around my peers and be around others, you know, to collaborate and things of that nature. I didn't get the company's vision initially, but I quickly caught on.
I think one of the things that we often talk about is during the holiday season, how people can actually
Yeah.
start feeling alone. And that's whether they are by themselves or they could have family that loves them. And people still feel alone or feel lonely. So it kind of makes me wonder, it becomes not only a mind thing, but a heart thing. Because sometimes you can have 50,000 people around you, you still can feel alone. You still can feel lonely.
Yeah.
So then it makes me wonder, is it about the presence of people or is it about us? And what we feel, what we think, how we perceive things.
I think it goes back for me and for what you always say. We've got to get to the root of why we feel
Yeah.
this way. I mean, I know mine do, but most people don't know the root of. When I'm around people, I still feel lonely. I don't feel like I fit in. I still feel alone. Everybody can be laughing and whatever, but you have to take stock and ask yourself serious questions like, get it out of your head and put it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I've started my writing again, and it becomes so revealing, as to why you feel the way you feel in a crowd of people. And I mean, you hear,
that's good,
people
Sheila.
with money,
Yeah.
stars that say, they're in a room full of people and they should be happy and they shouldn't, but they feel so alone, like they just feel so alone and lonely.
So then it is, sometimes it can be us, and we have to figure out then what about that? Because like you said, it could be something that we've experienced, that we've taken into or we've brought into our adult lives. It could be an experience. It could be things that have been said about us. A lot of people feel alone and lonely because of self-esteem, or how they perceive themselves, don't fit in when.
Or even trust. Do I trust these people
That's
that I'm
very
around?
good.
Yeah.
So you sort of pull back, but you got that side eye, like, can I trust these people? Because like you said, maybe I've heard some of them say some few things about me. Maybe word has gotten back to me about some things that maybe someone said about my home, or whatever it is. We have to be able to sit with ourselves long enough to figure it out, and
I think that's hard because we often chalk it up to that's who we are. We hear it all the time. That's who I am. That's how I've always been. That's what I've always done. That's what I like doing. When the truth of the matter is,
not.
it's not. It's not. But we gotta be willing to dig a little deeper, dig our heels in, and figure out the underlying why. But oftentimes, you're right. It's not that we are lonely, being alone, or that we're even alone or lonely, because it can be either together or it can be separate. Sometimes it's us, and we choose to be because it's nobody want to be bothered with me. Nobody cares about me. No one loves me. They treat me like an outsider. It's all these other isms that we have.
Right.
Chatterbox going on inside you.
Yeah, mind chatter.
Yeah, that we need to get to the root of and deal with, right? We need to be able to get to the root and deal with it. But I don't think, we don't perceive it like that. We chalk it up to, I'm just an introvert.
That's true.
And do people even really, really, really know what an introvert is? I mean, we throw labels on ourselves so quick without investigating what it actually means.
Right.
I've heard someone say, I think in one of my groups, I'm an introvert, extrovert. Well, pick one. You know, either you like being around people or you don't.
Correct. Because then we say we're lonely, so we get a companion. We increase our friend count, and that doesn't take it away. So it was never about that anyway, right?
No.
It was never about that anyway. So what fills the void? Because loneliness is a void. Something's missing. Something's missing.
I think when you come to the realization, like you said, Sheila, sit with yourself and figure it out. Once you really become complete and know who you are, like a solid know who you are.
Yeah.
And we're ever evolving. So, you know, that does take time, like years. You know, that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
So, you know, once you are really, really comfortable with the skin that you're in, like really comfortable with you, it's not there any longer.
Yeah. It's, you know what, it's funny how that just goes away, right?
Right.
And it can happen quickly, or it can happen brick by brick by brick. When you just look up and what used to be an issue is no longer an issue. You used to didn't go to places that you were unfamiliar with by yourself.
Right.
And now you're like, let me get in my car and go, I want to go here. Oh, okay. And I'm going to go here.
Yeah.
Don't even think about it. So it's us.
All along.
It's us.
Yes.
It's us, and we're labeling ourselves as introvert, extroverts, and I'm quite sure there is a definition for that. You know, one internal, one what is it? One internal, like to be alone. One external, like to be kind of out on the go. But you're right, Sheila. We label ourselves those things when they may not even be applicable. That may not be who you are. It may be who you've become as a result of what may have happened to you, what may have been said to you, what you've experienced. Then you choose to do what? Scale it back. All right, so how do we come out of, if I am alone and I feel lonely, what's your recommendation to me? What do you think?
I mean, there are some suggestions that I would make, and that is, you know, just take inventory to make sure that it's not you know, that's isolating your own self. And once you come to the, you know, the realization of where everything is coming from, you know, make a plan from that point. You know, maybe you know, have a date with a girlfriend a couple of times a month, or you know, set up to have become a part of a community group, do something in the community, volunteer, you know, do other things that kind of get yourself out of the mode of being alone. It's so much good and so many things that you can be used to do in the earth, and rather than being isolated at home and making no impact at all.
Right. What would you suggest?
I ditto what Angie said, as well as self-care. You know, when's the last time, I know for me, I think about, I want to get my nails and my feet done. When's the last time I did that?
Not the feet.
You know, when's the last time I did that? It's been a while. You know, I want to go to a movie. I have gone to a movie by myself before. It's no fun because I don't have nobody to talk to, so I'm talking to the screen. You know, and people are kind of.
And they like, lady. They giving you the lady look.
Just shut up. You know, but so it's pushing yourself to do what you really want to do. I mean, my mom used to say, nothing beats a try but a failure.
That's right.
Just get out there and try it. If you fail at it, at least you can say, well, I tried. I went trying to get my nails done, but it was so packed in there, I decided I'm not willing to wait. For me, that's sabotaging. Because I could wait, or I could go and find someplace
a different
else
shop. There's
to
one
get
on
my
every
nails
corner.
done. You know, so going to the movies and going to eat. I remember being, my first pastor, she started in her home, and she did this exercise in helping us identify who we were. And she said, you know how you go to a restaurant and the person says, just one? And she said, when that person says, just one, you respond with, no, the one.
Because just one makes it seem like it's a negative connotation.
Right.
Like you here by yourself,
Right.
So then
But
you
if you
counteract
say
with
the
just
one.
the one. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
So it's helping you to see things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason that makes me also think that I was thinking about people that I know who have said, you know, they're alone or lonely. And one thing they have in common is things that you say to them, they perceive it in a negative connotation, right? They're offended about everything. So even when you do invite them out, they decline it, but then they're always talking about how don't nobody ever invite them nowhere, don't nobody care nothing about this. You're like, I just asked, trying to get you, I pretty much almost dragged you out the house.
And you know, I have to raise my hand because I've been guilty of that. And then, you know, but again, the Lord is just he's just so good to me that he brings it back to my remembrance when I tried to go down that lane of, I'm just so lonely and alone. Well, I don't know why. So-and-so asked you, did you want to go here? And you said no. So-and-so asked you, would you like to be a part of this? And you said, no, I don't have a way. So-and-so asked you, they will come and get you, but you like, no, I don't want to burden you. Pick one.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we use excuses to then put us in a place where we feel like we are lonely, and then we go into woe is me.
Because again, as we've often said at this table, it is comfortable being in uncomfortableness.
Yeah. To do something different. They ain't gonna do nothing different. That's good. So I guess the takeaway today is just because you are alone does not mean that you are lonely.
You don't have to be.
Right. We are on some level we expected that we're gonna be alone at times in our life.
Right.
So we have to get comfortable with that and see it as a positive thing and not a negative thing. Because a lot happens when you're alone. You know, you get closer to the Lord.
Very much so.
You learn yourself.
Yeah.
You learn who you are and your characteristics, and you also get a clear perspective on things when you are alone. And how about self-care? Duh, right? Nails, feet, hair, facials, massages, all of that. Going to eat. It's a lot that happens when you are alone. So we thank you so much for joining the conversation and being with us for another episode of Kingdom Woman Talk. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube and our Facebook channel. Also, drop in the comments your take on, is being alone lonely? We want to hear from you. Until next time, be blessed.
Bye.
Bye.